So once again, thanks so much for being with us. And thanks for bearing with me as I have back problems, and I will learn more hopefully tomorrow. So I'll be back in the classroom next week. But it sure was a good thing that I could go ahead and hold this remotely today. So we'll find out if I have a slip disc, a herniated disc, or something else. What I'm going to do today is go ahead and review for you. So we'll go through the material once again at a fairly high level and answer any questions you've got, and also talk about just general things for the exam. For the exam, as you know, it opens up at 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, and you've got through Monday at 12:59 p.m. to complete it. So make sure you do complete it at that time. With the exam, it will consist of 33 multiple choice questions, and some are computational, some are not. Also, they are algorithmic and they come from a pool. So each person gets a unique exam, and you can have your book and your notes open, but please no assistance from anyone else or from any other source. So our exam, let me start sharing my screen here and see where the material comes from. So the first thing we have on our exam is Chapter 19. A few different things here about cost management systems. Well, the first thing we have is activity-based costing. So we should know that's a way to better allocate overhead. We do so department by department or activity by activity. Somehow we break it down from the one great big plant-wide overhead cost pool. So each of these activities, or however we break it down, will have its own overhead cost pool, and costs in that cost pool are more likely to be homogeneous, more likely to behave alike than they would be in one big plant-wide overhead cost pool. And that's a good thing. It also means that we can have a unique cost driver for that activity. That's good too. So more closely refines overhead allocation to match actual resource consumption. So that's what happens in ABC in a nutshell. And just coming on down here, we saw how to allocate indirect costs, same thing as overhead. We've got the budget or predetermined overhead allocation rate, just we would have for a great big overhead cost pool on a plant-wide basis. And we allocate that, again, based on the budget indirect cost of the activity, divided by the budget quantity of the cost driver. And then for the indirect cost allocated, we would look in our case at the actual quantity of the cost driver, whatever it may be, like number of parts, in the product times the allocation rate. So with the examples, you should know example 2. And you do have a solution, of course, that appears at the end of this handout, or the end of this chapter, I should say, where you actually allocate overhead to 2 different products. However, some advantages of ABC, should be familiar with them. And then we came to just-in-time inventory, producing a just-in-time to meet end consumer demand. So just know the ideas behind that. No numbers to test you on it. For Roman numeral 3, you can ignore backflush costing. I don't have anything like that on the exam. And then we came to quality. So we saw some ideas about quality, and we saw some costs or activities of quality, each cost having its own activity attached to it. So do go over these ideas here in the handout. Oh, and you should know these different types of costs or activities that go into quality. COQ analysis, know what it is. There an F. I did not have one in the exam for you to do in numbers. There again is a solution to the ABC problems that we had. So chapter 19, not a bad chapter, not a tremendous amount of material. And what questions do you have on it for me? Anyone? All righty. Well, then chapter 20, cost volume profit analysis. This one definitely does have numbers. And the first thing we looked at are variable cost and fixed cost. We know what those are by now. Variable costs vary according to our volume, number of units we produce and or sell. Usually the number of units we produce, we assume will be the number that we sell. And fixed costs don't. They just change, they just stay constant in total. And we graph them. We graph total costs. We had two ways to estimate a cost function. The high-low method is the one that we used, and you should know how to use that. You'll have a question about that. So quick method of estimation. Again, make sure that you go for the high and low values of the independent variable, which are sales volumes, not the dependent variable, which is total cost. You'll see that little trick built into this problem here. Also, make sure that you ignore any outliers, like May as we did this one. Then a couple of other possible cost relationships, actually three. You should know what they are. In the case of mixed and total manufacturing costs, be able to compute them. They're quite easy. Then we got into contribution margin. So we saw contribution margin income statements. We saw that in those, we simply reorder variable costs and fixed costs. Just helps us with analysis if we do them this way. So you should know everything under there. We went through some numbers. With break-even analysis, again, we went through some numbers there. So be able to compute those. Along with margin of safety and sensitivity analysis, simply extensions of break-even analysis on profit planning. You will have a PDF file, which is also a companion file for this, so that you can go back over any solutions you would like. We spent plenty of time going through those in class. Questions there on chapter 20. Okay, hearing none, I will go to the last chapter on the exam, which is chapter 22 about budgeting. So we have a few budgeting concepts, not difficult, and then we prepared the operating budget. So do go back over all 6 of these problems, and you've got the problems and the solutions in a companion PDF. So we started off preparing the sales budget because it drives everything else. Then we prepared these other budgets. Not difficult, but just getting the number in the right place is the most difficult part. Then we looked at preparing the financial budget. 3 problems on that. We had the cash budget. Again, getting the right number in the right place is the most difficult part. There are quite a few numbers there flowing about. And if I did not do something such as a budget balance sheet or budget statement of cash flows, don't worry, you're not responsible for it. And the last little thing we discussed in this chapter is using information technology for sensitivity analysis and rolling up unit budgets. Just know what those are. And what questions here on the chapters you have on budgeting? By the way, chapter 24 is not on this exam. It will be on the last exam. I'm glad we covered it. That way we stay on top of material here and make sure that we don't get behind. So we're in very good shape for the rest of the class. Let me go ahead and stop my share here. And what questions do you have? Anything at this point, or certainly if you do have questions, just email me. So material looks pretty good. All righty. Well, again, just let me know as you study, and I'll be happy to help. Oh, thanks very much, Michael. I appreciate that. And all righty, let's see here. Good. Eric, you don't have any questions? Thanks. Well, I'll keep everybody posted there as far as how I get to be, and appreciate that, Kyle. I'll feel better here. And Catherine, thanks so much. I appreciate that, Catherine. Yeah, so keep your backs in good order. I've never had anything like this, but evidently it was from having not taught for a while, then going back into it, plus a few other things too. I will probably never know, but it wasn't like one lifting a heavy load or anything like that. Thank you so much, Shay. Thank you so much, Sean. Thanks, Eric. All right. Oh, there's something. You're right, Anthony. Back problems are bad. They make you feel, ugh. Yeah. Have you had back problems, Anthony? Sounds like you may have had. So, oh, well. Oh, you have been there too. Okay. Yeah, this is my lower back. So, yeah, a little bit in the right arm. I do have carpal tunnel syndrome, but I also have something called cubital tunnel syndrome, which runs right through the elbow. I can feel it there. And that's where your funny bone is. So sometimes in typing, that acts up. So it mostly affects these two fingers right here. So I have to get that solved too. All righty. Now rains and pours. Lower really does affect a lot. You're right. Yes. Including the legs and walking. So all the nerves flow through there. Well, please let me know as you have questions, and I'm also here to help anytime. So good to see you all. It makes me feel a lot better than just hanging around here at home. All right. You have a great one. And again, I look forward to hearing from you with any questions. Well, take care. Bye-bye. Thanks.